Beginning in the 1950s, it was apparent that Russia couldn't take over the United States through warfare. So they devised a plan of social infiltration, psychological warfare, and communist propaganda in order to overthrow the American culture. Like always, my motto is to focus on more of the conspiracy and less of the theory. So we're going to be talking about more of the documented facts. So what I'm going to talk about is a document called Current Communist Goals, and this was read in front of the U.S. House of Representatives in 1963. The source of this document comes from a book called The Naked Communists. It was written in 1960 by Cleon Skuzman. Mr. Skuzman worked for the FBI for 16 years and was the field director for the American Security Council in Chicago. What this document does is it gives 45 specific goals for the Communist Party to overthrow the American culture. What's interesting about this document is how many of the communist goals have already been accomplished in the 47 years since it's been published. So what I'm going to do is read you some of these communist goals. And what I'd like you to do is think about whether or not these goals are actually accomplished in the American culture. I'm not going to read you all 45, I'm just going to read you some of the ones I think are the most important. So the first one I'm going to read is Communist Goal number 4. It says, permit free trade between all nations regardless of communist affiliation, regardless of whether or not items could be used for war. Do the words made in China mean anything to you? Communist Goal number 11. Promote the United Nations as the only hope for mankind. If its charter is rewritten, demand that it be set up as a one-world government with its own independent armed forces. Do the United Nations have its own independent armed forces? And have you ever heard of the term New World Order or globalization? Communist Goal number 12. Resist any attempt to outlaw the Communist Party. Well, the American Communist Party is alive and well, and you can Google it by Googling American Communist Party if you'd like. Communist Goal number 15. Capture one or both of the political parties in the United States. So do one or more of the political parties in the United States push for socialist agendas such as socialized medicine or graduated income tax? Communist Goal number 16. Use technical decisions of the courts to weaken basic American institutions by claiming their activities violate civil rights. Have you ever heard of the lawsuit that has to do with taking out the words under God in the Pledge of Allegiance? Communist Goal number 17. Get control of the schools. Use them as transmission belts for socialism and current communist propaganda. Soften the curriculum. Get control of teachers' associations. Put the party line in textbooks. And do you think that the school curriculum has been softened in the last 40 years? Communist Goal number 22. Continue discrediting American culture by degrading all forms of artistic expression. An American communist cell was told to eliminate all good sculpture from parks and buildings, substitute shapeless, awkward, and meaningless forms. Now, have you noticed that the meaning of music has been degraded in the last 40 years? And also, have you noticed that there's a lot of shapeless and meaningless art? Communist Goal number 23. Control art critics and directors of art museums. Our plan is to promote ugliness, repulsive, meaningless art. Have you seen ugly, repulsive, and meaningless art? Communist Goal number 24. Eliminate all laws governing obscenity by calling them censorship and a violation of free speech and free press. Have you seen an obscene amount of pornography on the internet? Communist goal number 25. Break down cultural standards of morality by promoting pornography, obscenity in books, magazines, motion pictures, radio, and TV. Now, are books, magazines, TVs, movies filled with sexual messages? Communist goal number 26. Present homosexuality, degeneracy, and promiscuity as normal, natural, and healthy. Now, is promiscuity and homosexuality presented as normal and natural in the United States now? Communist goal number 27. Infiltrate the churches and replace revealed religion with social religion, discredit the Bible, and emphasize the need for intellectual maturity, which does not need a religious crutch. Have you ever heard of the Rational Response Squad? Or have you seen the anti-religious videos on YouTube? Communist goal number 28. Eliminate prayer or any phase of religious expression in the schools on the ground that it violates the principle of separation of church and state. Has prayer been eliminated from public schools? Communist goal number 32. Support any socialist movement to give centralized control over any part of the culture. Education, social agencies, welfare programs, mental health clinics, etc. Well, all of these things have been socialized, haven't they? Communist goal number 38. Transfer some of the powers of arrest from the police to social agencies. Treat all behavioral problems as psychiatric disorders, which no one but psychiatrists can understand or treat. Now, are all behavioral problems treated as psychiatric disorders? Are people ever given mandatory psychiatric treatment? And are people ever involuntarily committed outside of the criminal justice system? Communist goal number 39. Dominate the psychiatric profession and use mental health laws as a means of gaining coercive control over those who oppose communist goals. Now, I'm going to do a video on this point specifically a little bit later, but you could say the CIA mind control experiments were a good example. Communist goal number 40. Discredit the family as an institution. Encourage promiscuity and easy divorce. Now, is promiscuity promoted? And have we seen a rising statin divorce rate? And have you ever heard the quote, "It takes a village to raise a child"? Communist goal number 41. Emphasize the need to raise children away from the negative influence of parents. Attribute prejudices, mental blocks, and retarding of children to suppressive influence of parents. Have you ever heard of Child Protective Services? In future videos, I'll be talking about the plan going as far as back as 1950, trying to overthrow the American culture using propaganda, mind control, and psychological warfare. And I'm also going to be talking about the CIA giving LSD to American citizens for their mind control experiments without them even knowing it. So please subscribe to my videos, and I will see you next time.
For more great videos like this one, check out the Psyche Truth channel on YouTube.